Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on. Feel I don't belong, tell my thoughts to move along. Push myself to be the best, die with no regrets. Live with every breath, see my message start to spread. And I had so many dreams, then you hit your teens. Life ain't really what it seems, try to find out what it means. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only the best. I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going I don't want no fake love, I want the real stuff. Everybody listen up, cause I'll only say it once. I'm gonna show you all the path, if you want it bad. I'm gonna show you where it's at, yeah, how you can get it back. Yeah, cause I ain't never done, I'll be number one. Working hella hard until I get just what I want, yeah. Rises like the sun, yeah, fatal like a gun. Shooter's gonna shoot and I'm gonna shoot until I fall, yeah. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only the best. I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win, yeah.
Hey everybody, happy Monday. I hope yours is going well. I was a little disappointed today because they've updated the snowfall forecast for this nor'easter that is making its way to New York overnight, and they've downgraded. We're only supposed to get around 2 to 4 inches of snow. And so I'm kind of bummed because that's not enough for a delay. And it's definitely not enough for a snow day. But I did hear that New York City has already let families know that they will be online tomorrow for school. So students do not need to go to school tomorrow because they're supposed to get more snow than upstate, which is always interesting. So let's see. Generally, Jenny, not sure if you're still here, but thank you for dropping in. Team Brittany, I hope you're doing well. I haven't seen you in a little while, but I know, we see each other every so often in JB's chat. Hey, Road Rash, K-Braze, Sinner, Katie B, good to see you. Tracy Esme. Hey, Cheese. Looking Beyond. Oh, I know, K-Braze, right? I could hear my grandma now. We used to walk 20 miles in 3 feet of snow to school. Yes. We would have to get at least, I would say, more than 6 inches of snow for it to be to be a snow day. And even then, depending on what the roads are like, we could just have a delay. But there's been times when we've gotten, 3 to 4 inches and we still have school because the roads, aren't as bad as they might be. Hey, Mac, how's it going today? Pookie, good to see you. How did I saw your email. How the spaghetti, was it SpaghettiOs you were going to give the kitty outside? I feel like it was SpaghettiOs. I was doing something else, and so I read it quick, but hopefully that will do the trick. Oh, 4 kids on horseback. Hey, Truth Seeker, how are you? Good to see you here. Yeah, Cheese, the plane on I-75 is wild. And tragically, the pilot and co-pilot lost their lives, but miraculously, at least in my opinion, it's a miracle that the 3 others on board made it out. Like, there's video of them running from the plane from bystanders. So they are looking into what caused both engines to fail. And with that story, I also have, there was a helicopter crash in San Bernardino County. It was a prominent Nigerian man and 5 other people all lost their lives. And then at the end of this live, I will do an update on the family of 6 who were killed in East Lansdowne, Pennsylvania, which is just outside Philadelphia, probably about 30 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. And I have a few stories that we're going to start with. One is an update on the 5 Marines who were killed in the helicopter crash last week. And then there was another story I came upon as I was getting ready of a missing hiker at Mount Baldy who was missing, who tragically she was found deceased today. Well, the update was today. So we're going to check that out. So I have a lot going on today, and so we're going to get right into it. Oh, looking beyond. I wanted to tell you my teenage cat caught 2 baby bunnies. Oh no. Hopefully you were able to rescue those baby bunnies. But I know it's probably difficult. Cats are cats. Hey, Bridget, good to see you. Oh, hey, Braze. That sounds where you should live, Mount Baldy. All right, so let me add this. So again, the first story is of the 5 Marines who lost their lives, and they are being transported out of San Diego to Dover Air Force Base. So we're going to take a look at this and then go from there. And
today we are learning more details.
All right, that's really low. Let me just pump that up a little bit.
About the 5 Marines who were killed in a helicopter crash last week.
Such a devastating story. CBS 8's Alex Lai is outside MCS Miramar with more information on the service members' upcoming burial. Alex.
A U.S. Marine escort was seen on State Route 163 right before 9 this morning. Now, a Marine official tells us that it was carrying the remains of the 5 Marines who were killed last week at the Pine Valley helicopter crash. Now, as you can see, a motorcade blocked off much of the road as they drove through. 5 cars driving behind a truck and a number of motorcycles stopping traffic. They were going from Balboa Naval Medical Center to MCAS Miramar. We've been told the remains will now be transferred to Dover Air Force Base in Delaware, and there will be a private ceremony for the families. To recap the events on Wednesday, less than a week ago, a military helicopter crashed in Pine Valley during a training flight from Nevada to San Diego.
Geez, I did see the monitor this time, and Yeah, it's a weird spot to put your mic battery or audio battery. Hey, Jasmina D. Hey, Lisa, how are you? Are you super tired today from all the excitement yesterday? I did get your email and I was super jelly.
5 Marines were on board, and all 5 were killed in the crash. They were flying a CH-53E Super Stallion helicopter based out of Miramar. This flight was during California's strong winter storm, which brought heavy rain, wind, and snow to Southern California. But right now, the investigation into the cause of the crash is still underway. And on Friday, the Marine Corps released the names of the fallen Marines. All of them were in their 20s and based here at MCAS Miramar. They are Lance Corporal Donovan Davis, Sergeant Alec Langan, Captain Benjamin Moulton, Captain Jack Casey, and Captain Miguel Neva. So again, we're told the remains of the Marines are now being transported to Dover Air Force Base in Delaware, where there will also be a private ceremony for them to celebrate their life and honor them. At MCIS Miramar, Alex Lai, CBS 8.
All right. So again, they are being transported to Dover Air Force Base, where there will be a private ceremony for their families. And again, super tragic, super sad story out of California. Yeah, I was surprised Ludacris showed up for this. So getting off topic a little bit here, I was surprised that Ludacris was there, and oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name. Turned down for what? Is that Redman? I don't think it's Redman. Somebody help me out here. Yeah, Cheese. It was kind of but it was cool to see Ludacris and Lil Jon. Thank you. Okay. I knew it wasn't Redman. Ludacris was there early. Yeah, I don't know, and I don't know who the guy was that came out with like the big sunglasses that almost look like a visor over his face. I didn't know who that was. That was he was on I don't know if he was on roller skates, but Usher was on roller skates and went through his legs. I didn't know who that was. Oh, he was producing. I did see them show Jay-Z and Beyonce. Oh, thank you, Jermaine Dupri. Okay. Not familiar with his work. Hey, I'm a baffled. How are you? Yeah, I've got to say, Cheese, I agree. Like that would have been epic in my opinion, seeing Prince. So BTS guy was here too as a dancer. Is that the Asian group BTS? I'm trying to think. There's so many that K-pop. Okay, yes, K-pop. All right, so moving to the next story. Hey Elaine, this is the story of a missing hiker, and she was sadly found today deceased. Oh, and this looks like this is the wrong one. Hold on a second. What's going on here? There we go. Okay. I was like, wait a minute. We just saw that one.
The heavy snowfall and looming threat of avalanches are hindering the search for a missing hiker who disappeared over the weekend on Mount Baldy. Lee Fei Wan, a 22-year-old hiker from El Monte, was reported missing late Sunday when she failed to return home from a solo day hike.
KTLA's Omar Lewis spoke with the missing woman's friend about that search. He's live in Fontana tonight. Omar.
Micah and Cher, friends of Lee Fei Wong, say on Sunday she sent a group text message saying that she was going on that hike at Mount Baldy. That was more than 72 hours ago, and she still has not been seen or heard from since. Now those family members and friends are doing everything they can to bring her home safely.
We just want her to come back home safe.
Cherry Lee describes her friend since high school, 22-year-old Lee Fei Wong, as an adventurous hiker who often takes to trailheads alone. On this past Sunday, Wong texted a group of friends letting them know her plans to go to Mount Baldy for a hike.
At 1:59, she sent a video to her boyfriend.
Wong.
Oh wow. So I hadn't watched this before going live because I had just seen it before. And so she actually sent a video of where she was, and then they didn't hear from her again.
Posted these videos to social media from the trail Sunday, showing light rain coming down as she hummed a song. Little did her friends know these snippets would mark the last traces of her whereabouts. 2 hours later, Wong's communication stopped and weather conditions worsened. Friends became concerned Sunday night when she still hadn't called or returned home.
We didn't go on the trail. We tried, but we couldn't do anything because we need professional help.
The San Bernardino Sheriff's Department says search and rescue crews began looking for Wong at Mount Baldy around 2:30 in the morning on Monday. They found no signs of her but kept searching on Tuesday as heavy snow continued to fall. As the threat of an avalanche increased on the mountain, crews were forced to stop searching. While volunteers were still at the trailhead Wednesday, they're unable to continue their search during these unsafe conditions.
But later, like after these 2 days, the weather become worse.
Francisco Carrillo teaches mountaineering classes.
And yeah, I'm baffled, and it didn't seem like I wouldn't go by myself, but based on what was seen in the video she sent, the conditions actually didn't seem terrible. But then, of course, seeing the footage of after when they were searching, there was a significantly more snow than there was in the video. So, and I'm wondering too if it wasn't something that she had done before, kind of like her quiet spot where she kind of just went to wander and hike. But definitely sad situation.
And often trains for big hikes on Mount Baldy, where he says conditions can turn dangerous quickly.
But it can change from being 50 degrees at the parking lot to -10 with 60-mile-an-hour winds at the summit. And you can have completely full whiteout and lose visibility and get lost.
It's been over 72 hours since anyone has heard from Wong. And as her family and friends hang on to hope, they're putting all their effort into trying to make sure she returns home. And the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department is urging everyone to avoid any type of mountain activities during all of this wet weather. If you have any information on Lee Fei Wong's whereabouts, you're asked to pick up the phone and contact the Fontana Sheriff.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I cut him off a little bit there.
You have
Michelle says, a friend of mine's cousin, without hiking with his dog, an avalanche hit. Oh, wait. Without hiking, I think you meant went out hiking with his dog and an avalanche hit. They found the dog a couple days later, but they still haven't found him every year and a half later. Wow. That is really sad. Yeah, and K-Braze, I agree. That is a quick change. So, 50 degrees at the base, but then, 10 below and 50-mile-per-hour winds or 60-mile-per-hour winds at the summit. Like, huge difference. And so this was the update from, I saw it today, updated, I believe, yesterday.
An update now on the search for a missing hiker on Mount Baldy. The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department says crews recovered Li Fei Wang's body this morning. Her cause of death is not immediately known, but the 22-year-old went missing last Sunday. Rescuers searched the area throughout the week, but unsafe weather conditions had forced them to stop as storms hit. Yesterday, a citizen told the U.S. Forestry Department they believed they spotted Wang from a drone. Deputies were then dispatched, but they couldn't access the area due to unsafe conditions. So an air rescue crew returned this morning and pulled Wang's body off the mountain.
Okay, so just a really quick update. So they did find her, unfortunately deceased, but at least her family, her friends, they have, closure knowing what happened to her. K. Brace says, I live in a huge forest and I could not handle someone talking to me while I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I tend to go by myself too. Just because sometimes, you go at your own pace and sometimes people are faster than you or people are slower than you. So, sometimes you just need that solace. Bridget, yeah, at times I rather stay home safer and warmer for sure. For sure. So this next story is from Saturday. Yes, Saturday. Again, San Bernardino County. And this is the helicopter crash that killed 6 people. One of them being a prominent Nigerian who we will learn more about in some of the clips. And so this was from My Access Bank. So again, he was a banker. It says, painful exit. With a heavy heart, we announce the passing of Dr. Herbert Wigwe, Group Chief Executive Officer of Access Holdings. Herbert's visionary leadership and unwavering commitment to social impact initiatives have left an indelible mark on Access Holdings and the communities we serve. His legacy will never be forgotten.
Now to the latest in that helicopter crash.
And I need to pump this volume up. That is very low.
Near Baker, Nevada, that claimed 6 lives. Federal investigators back on the scene today, hoping to learn why it went down. Eyewitness News reporter Leanne Suter is live in Burbank, where the helicopter company is based. She has the latest tonight. Leanne?
That's right, Jory. And federal investigators now beginning the slow and tedious task of piecing together what led that helicopter to crash to the ground and burst into flames. NTSB investigators.
And so when I first saw this, it reminded me of the story I covered a couple of weeks ago of the 6 individuals who had been shot and killed in El Mirage, which is also San Bernardino County. And just the layout, obviously it's a big desert there, or desert area, but just the way that the police vehicles and just the image itself was very reminiscent of that case as well, which I do have to check, but as of a few days ago, they still had not been able to identify the 6th victim in that murder, which is very sad.
spent the day combing the crash site for clues as to what caused the helicopter to crash, killing all 6 on board.
The airworthiness group began detailed examination of the debris field. The debris field was approximately 100 yards in length.
For the victims' friends and family, a day of mourning. Access Bank posting a heartfelt tribute online to Herbert Wigwe, head of one of the largest banks in Nigeria. The post calling his death a painful exit, saying his legacy will never be forgotten. Wigwe, his wife Chizoba, and their son were all killed in the crash, along with Bamafin Amambola Ogunbanjo, former chair of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. They were all reportedly headed to the Super Bowl. The 2 pilots on board.
Oh my gosh, I missed that part, that they were allegedly on their way to the Super Bowl when the helicopter crashed.
Also died in the accident. Investigators say the Airbus EC-130 is operated by Orbic Air out of Burbank Airport. It was following the I-15 when it suddenly went down.
Near the end of the flight track data, it shows a slight right turn, turning south of the interstate. At that time, data shows a gradual descent and increasing ground speed. The wreckage site shows the helicopter impacted the terrain in a nose low and right bank angle.
The helicopter had taken off from Palm Springs, headed to Boulder City, Nevada, outside of Las Vegas, when it went down in the Mojave Desert Friday night just after 10. NTSB investigators say they are looking into reports of downed power lines near the accident site and have confirmed there was a wintry mix of precipitation at the time of the crash.
The fact that there was some weather in the...
And it seems like weather is seemingly the cause of a lot of incidents lately, where, you know, with the Marines, possibly the rain that California was experiencing may have been a factor. Here again, possibly weather was a factor.
The area is going to be one of the things that the NTSB will certainly take a very hard look at. There are certain conditions, extreme ice, freezing rain, things of this nature that you would not want to be up in.
All part of the ongoing investigation. The NTSB says it will be moving the wreckage on Tuesday to continue its in-depth investigation. A preliminary report on the crash is expected in about 12 months. Live in Burbank, Leon Suter, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Okay, and the next clip I have is a press conference that the NTSB had given. So I did cut it down. It was about 18 minutes long. I cut it down to about 9 minutes just because a lot of the, or maybe I didn't. Actually, I'm thinking of the Lansdowne, Pennsylvania press conference. That one I cut in half because it was very long. This might be the whole thing.
Good evening. I'm Michael Graham, a board member with the National Transportation Safety Board. Joining me tonight is our investigator in charge, Aaron Sauer. The NTSB just recently, within about an hour ago, arrived on scene for this accident investigation. Last night at 8:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, an Airbus EC-130 helicopter departed Palm Springs, California, en route to Boulder City, Nevada. At about 10:08 p.m., the helicopter impacted the terrain south of I-15 near Halloran Springs, California. Halloran Springs is about 75 miles northeast of Barstow. 2 crew members and 4 passengers were on board and were fatally injured. Before I go any farther, on behalf of the NTSB, I'd like to express our deepest sympathies to the families and loved ones of those who lost their lives in this terrible tragedy.
And so I had wondered who the other 2 individuals were. So again, they were crew members. So 2 crew members, Mr. Whitwee, his wife and son, and then another man who was the head of the Nigerian Stock Exchange.
We have a representative from the NTSB's Transportation Disaster Assistance Division on scene with us. She is currently working with the family members of those who lost their lives and will provide support as well as investigative updates as they become available. The NTSB is an independent agency charged by Congress to investigate every civil aviation accident and significant accidents in the other transportation modes. We are on scene now to gather perishable evidence. Our team is methodically and systematically reviews all evidence and considers all potential factors to determine the probable cause. This is the beginning of a long process. We will not jump to any conclusions, and the information that I provide for you tonight is preliminary. A preliminary report will be available in a couple weeks, and however, a full NTSB investigative report and investigation will last 12 to 24 months before a final report is published. Additional details about the accident include the crew consisted of a pilot in command and a safety pilot. The accident flight was operated by Orbic Air LLC as a Part 135 charter flight. Witness reports of the weather conditions at the time of the accident suggest rain and a wintry mix.
Okay, so again, witnesses, that's what the news clip had said prior, the man that they were talking to. So here, rain, wintry mix, which would, to me, mean freezing rain, ice.
The helicopter was not equipped with a cockpit voice recorder or a flight data recorder.
Oh my God.
This helicopter was not required.
Okay, and that was going to be my question, and he's going to answer it, but I thought that every airplane, helicopter would need a black box, and clearly he's saying that this helicopter was not required to. Hey, Remy.
To be equipped with those type of recording devices.
That's kind of sad.
We are aware of media reports of some downed power lines near the accident site. We will be looking into this report during our on-scene investigative phase of this investigation. The NTSB investigator in charge, as I said, is Aaron Sauer. He will be joined by Mark Ward as the deputy investigator in charge. Several other NTS investigators are on scene and will be examining the following areas: airworthiness, to include maintenance and structures of the helicopter, operations, meteorology, and air traffic control. Parties to the investigation include the FAA and Orbic Air LLC. As the investigation continues, other parties could be named. The BEA, the French Aviation Accident Investigation Agency, will serve as an accredited representative because France is a state of manufacturer of the Airbus helicopter and the turbomeca engine. Both Airbus helicopters and turbomeca engines will serve as technical advisors to the investigation. Planned activities for tomorrow will include traveling to the accident site to conduct the initial on-scene documentation, and documentation will also include aerial mapping of the wreckage with a drone and site measurements. Also, we will be working with Orbic Air to obtain flight crew records, helicopter maintenance records, and flight dispatch records. We were aware that there were several 911 calls last night to report the crash from Interstate 15. And we'd like to ask any of those people that had witnessed that if they would reach out to us with any further information they may have, such as photos or anything of that sort. And we can be reached through witness@ntsb.gov. Again, that's witness@ntsb.gov. We will provide updates as they become available. You can follow the NTSB on X, or formerly known as Twitter, at ntsb.gov. One final comment. I'd like to thank the first responders who first responded to the accident scene, and the ongoing coordination of the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. We really appreciate all their work they're doing. I'll take a few questions here. As I do, please raise your hand, state your name and affiliation. Please go ahead.
Sean Hanlon News. Was there a fire involved when the aircraft crashed after it hit the ground?
The question is, was there a fire involved when the air crash hit the ground? As far as we know, from what was reported from witnesses, that there was fire when the aircraft did contact the terrain.
The rental company, was this a charter flight coming from Las Vegas' Orbic Air, that these passengers rented this aircraft?
Yeah, the question is, did these passengers rent the aircraft from a charter company? Yes, they did. The charter company actually I guess they have an address out of Camarillo, California, but I think they base out of Burbank. And we're looking into that for sure. They will be arriving to help us out as a party member. The flight was actually from Palm Springs, California to Boulder City, Nevada.
The weather conditions. You said there was a mix of rain and snow. Can you talk more about the weather conditions in the area at the time the helicopter was flying through that area?
The question is about the weather conditions at the time of the accident and where the helicopter crashed. It was reported by witnesses that there was rain with some wintry mix. We currently have a meteorologist working on our team, and we were working to analyze and get the exact weather conditions at that time. Of course, that's out in the middle of the desert, so we'll have to find the closest reporting stations nearby to be able to give any accurate information as far as the weather was at the scene.
My last question is, do you know the altitude the helicopter was flying through the area? I mean, was it, did they experience, is it possible they experienced a mechanical problem? They were flying high and they, auto-rotated down or came down somehow, or were they flying so low that they crashed into the side of a mountain? What do we know about that?
The question is about the altitude and the flight path of the helicopter during the flight. We don't have any specific information on that right now. We are getting air traffic control data, ADS-B data. We were just starting to receive that. Hopefully we'll have more information tomorrow for you on that specifically.
And we always have to ask you, do you hate anything on the passengers or the crew? Can you tell us anything about that?
They're asking the questions about any more information on passenger and crews. No, I have no information at this time on that. Any names, things like that will be released through the coroner's office. And if we have any updates on that, we'll let you know. But normally that goes through the coroner's office.
Okay, so I did speed that up a little, which made it a little bit quicker. So I have one more update story on this. So again, this talks more about the helicopter itself and just some updates they may have. So I thought this was actually a cool representation. So you have the 4 seats here, 2 seats here, and then I'm assuming this is the pilot seat, the one with the red there.
Six people are dead following a horrific helicopter crash near the California-Nevada border.
The NTSB held a press conference earlier tonight sharing what they've been able to glean so far. The crash happened last night. This is just east of the 15. This is over at Halloran Springs Road near the community of Nipton.
Authorities say the chopper took off from Palm Springs and was headed to Boulder City, Nevada. Our Sarah Welch is live in the news center with new.
And then I'm wondering, I know Cheese may still be in here, or anybody else. How far is Boulder City from Las Vegas? I'm just curious. I mean, I could look it up, but probably be quicker if someone knows. Oh, I'm baffled. Decompression time is right. I had to run on my treadmill for a few minutes to relieve stress. I rebound. I started it last spring, and I haven't been doing it regularly like I was. So I've definitely got back to at least rebounding for at least 15 minutes a day. I'm working back to 30 minutes a day. So I definitely agree that just having that little bit of time helps a lot. Oh, thank you, Team Brittany. And thank you, Sinner. 26 miles, so not very far. Hey, Cheese. I was asking about how far Boulder City is from Las Vegas.
Information about the victims. Hi, Sarah.
Karina, Rick, good evening. We've learned a prominent Nigerian banker, his wife and son were on board. Witnesses who saw the aftermath from the freeway say it was raining and sleeting around the time of the crash. And tonight, investigators are urging anyone who might have video or photos to come forward.
The 6 victims were flying in a Eurocopter EC-130, similar to this one when it crashed in the desert just after 10 p.m. Friday night in eastern San Bernardino County.
From what was reported from witnesses, that there was fire when the aircraft did contact the terrain.
Investigators with the National Transportation Safety Board are now looking for witnesses who were driving along the 15 freeway at the time of the crash and may have pictures or video of the fiery accident near Halloran Springs Road, about 75 miles northeast of Barstow.
2 crew members and 4 passengers were on board and were fatally injured.
Among the victims, a wealthy Nigerian banker, his wife, and son.
Obviously, I'm Nigerian. I'm a chartered accountant by training.
Nigeria's former finance minister confirms Herbert Wigwe, the CEO of one of Nigeria's largest banks, was on board the chopper that departed from Palm Springs around 8:45 Friday night en route to Boulder City, Nevada, just outside Las Vegas.
Witness reports of the weather conditions at the time of the accident suggest rain and a wintry mix.
Weather, one of the many factors investigators will be looking at. The flight was operated by Orbic Air. The passengers had rented the aircraft from the charter company based out of Burbank. The helicopter was not equipped with a cockpit voice recorder or flight data recorder.
This helicopter was not required to be equipped with those type of recording devices. Several other NTS investigators are on.
And I'm curious to know why certain planes or helicopters, like, are there only certain ones that aren't required? And why aren't they required? I feel like in situations like this, having the cockpit voice recorder and the flight data recorder would be helpful in knowing more about what may or may not have happened in this situation. Oh, good question, Team Brittany. I'm going to actually Google that really quick. Let's see. Oh, wow, it was in 2020? It doesn't seem like it was that long ago. January 26th, 2020. So about 2 weeks later. Wow, it doesn't seem like it was 4 years ago.
Seeing, and we'll be examining the following areas: airworthiness, to include maintenance and structures of the helicopter, operations, meteorology, and air traffic control.
In addition, K-Braze, it's a glitch. I believe, at least I have an Android, and I've had to do the same thing. It looks like my chat isn't moving, and especially when I was looking at StreamYard, I could see StreamYard continuing to move, but my phone chat didn't. I think it has something to do with an update they did or something, but it's annoying. You have to leave and come back. Yep.
In addition, investigators will also be examining the helicopter's flight path as they figure out what led to the deadly crash.
We are getting air traffic control data, ADS-B data. We're just starting to receive that. Hopefully we'll have more information tomorrow for you on that specifically.
And they will be back on scene tomorrow. Investigators are also looking into reports that there were downed power lines in the area of the accident. If you saw the crash, you can connect with investigators at witness@ntsb.com.
Oh, and sorry, I did cut her off. So, and I know the NTSB guy had mentioned the power lines as well. So I'm wondering what the power lines may or may not have had to do with the helicopter crashing, or if possibly the helicopter took the power lines down and that's why it caught on fire. It's definitely going to be interesting to see what they find as a result of their investigation. Again, a super tragic situation where, they seemingly were allegedly on their way to the Super Bowl and they never made it. Yeah, so this next one I saw on Friday night. I first saw this story, and it was the same day that I did my live about the 5 fallen Marines, and so I had this in my watch later, and I thought this would be a good a good life to do it with, because you have, the helicopter crash that, seemingly possibly weather related. This one was not weather related, but instead somehow mechanically both engines failed, causing the pilot to have to make an emergency landing on Interstate 75, which I believe is also known as Alligator Alley, if I'm not mistaken. So this is definitely this one was wild, to say the least.
Nicole, we are at mile marker.
Oh, give me 1 second. That one it's like low, high, low, high.
105, about a mile away from where this all happened, but you can see what's happening with traffic here. Drivers being diverted onto Golden Gate Parkway at exit 105. This all happening about a mile away from where we are standing. So I want to take you to cell phone video the drivers were able to.
Oh, Lisa, your sister sent you to a link to a YouTube channel right when it happened. I think it went to my Facebook. Okay.
Obtain of all of this. Several drivers on the roadway as that Bombardier Challenger 604, a dual-engine jet, crashed onto the northbound lanes of I-75 just after 3 Friday. Now, we've just learned that of the 5 people aboard that plane, 2 have died and 3 are believed to have survived the crash. The video we obtained shows people remarkably running from the wreckage. The video, this piece of video, we obtained shows the fuselage on fire and smoke just billowing from that damaged aircraft after it also struck a vehicle.
And you can see there'll be another a closer vantage point of a bystander who ran towards the plane to try to help in any way they could, and you can see the 3 individuals running from the plane. And in this also, the plane hit a truck that it looked like it sheared the roof of the truck off, and thankfully the driver of that truck is okay. But again, scary situation. I know, Cheese, that's what it's bizarre. I know, right? I'm baffled. Can you imagine driving down the highway and here comes a plane? There was one interview, and I hope one of these videos has it. A man was driving with his son. His son had just gotten his permit, and they were driving down the interstate. And here comes a jet landing on the highway. So, definitely something you don't see very often, if at all, in our lifetime. But again, prayers to the families of the pilot and co-pilot who sadly tried everything they could to land this plane safely with no engine power.
Vehicle on in that pilot's attempt to land on the interstate. From the traffic cameras that monitor traffic along I-75, we watch as those firefighters tried to battle the blaze. And as you can clearly see, this is not a small aircraft. We've learned that the plane started its day departing from Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport, arriving in Columbus, Ohio. From Columbus, the aircraft carrying those 5 passengers was attempting to land at Naples Municipal Airport when it crashed. As for what caused the plane to come down, well,
okay, so then here's a map. So it started in Ohio, and it was going to Naples, but it was not far from Naples when the pilot radioed air traffic control and said, "We're not going to make it." And he did the best he could and landed on the highway.
That now being investigated by the FAA and the NTSB, but radio transmissions from the pilot does shed some light on what may have gone wrong. Let's take a listen.
Okay, Challenger, Hopperjet 823, lost both engines, emergency. I'm making an emergency landing.
Service.
Got the emergency clear to land runway 23. Is that Hopperjet 823?
We're clear to land, but we're not going to make the runway. We've lost both engines.
And as we come back out loud of that traffic being diverted onto the Golden Gate Parkway right there.
And so I did just look up an image of the jet. So I just put in the Challenger Hop A. And so this is similar to the jet that landed on I-75. A pretty big, I mean, obviously not, a Boeing, but definitely a good size airplane.
Here at exit 105, we can tell you that the FAA is now investigating this. As you may have seen in some of those videos, it appears that that plane struck a vehicle. Well, we have just confirmed with the Naples Municipal Airport that, in fact, that plane did strike a vehicle. Right now, we're going to get the conditions of who may have been inside of that car at the time of the crash. As soon as we gather those details, we'll be sure to let you know. For now, here in Naples, Roy Ramos, Local 10 News.
On the major breaking news, thanks a lot to Roy. And from Roy, our team coverage heads over down to Local 10, Samir Nefsi.
He spoke with a witness to the crash just a short time ago. Samir, what did they have to say?
So Nicole and Calvin, before we get to that, I actually just want to talk about these road closures. So right now we're about half a mile from where Roy's at. Since we've arrived, traffic really has been moving at a steady pace. Of course, there are some delays you can see just beyond that turn over there. You can really start to see the flashing lights of the vehicles trying to direct traffic into one lane, obviously condensing it as they make it down to where Roy's at. But let's go ahead and take a look at some Sky 10 footage. You can see that Challenger 600 jet that was ablaze early.
And, in the truck, it's hard to see. Hopefully they pan a little bit more. But the truck that was hit by the plane is actually down here in the on the bottom.
There today, just quite a...
There it is. There's the truck that the plane hit, and you can see how it was pushed. I'm not exactly sure where the plane hit the truck, but it was pushed off the interstate. You can see where it went across. You can see its tire marks here, went through the guide rail and ended up here. And actually, while I'm thinking about it, let me see if I can find an update on let's see. Okay, so here is okay, so here's an update. So this is from Wink News. Motorist injured by I-75 plane crash. Company releases statement regarding current condition. And this was updated on Saturday. So here's just a photo of just the tail end of the plane. So a survivor of the Friday afternoon plane crash has released a statement. The Florida Highway Patrol reported 2 vehicles traveling south were damaged during the crash. Okay, I didn't hear about 2. I only heard about the 1. A Naples man driving a 2015 Chevrolet Silverado was identified. Okay, that doesn't make sense. Driving a 2015 Chevrolet Silverado was identified and was reported with minor injuries, according to FHP. Okay, that sentence doesn't make sense. According to the FHP, the man was traveling between job sites while working for Englewood construction company JJB South. The company has provided a statement to Wink News at this time. JJB South is unbelievably thankful that our employee walked away from this horrific accident with minor injuries. Right now, he's recovering with family. We remain in supportive communication with him, and out of respect for him and his family, we are asking the public to allow the family to have time alone to celebrate his life. JGB South is praying for the families that lost their loved ones in this accident. The driver was transported to a local hospital after the crash for treatment. The Collier County Sheriff's Office has confirmed 2 deaths involved in the plane crash. According to the Naples Airport's communications director, 3 passengers survived the crash. So that is great news that he only had minor injuries, but I think, at least in my opinion, mentally, that is probably going to be the toughest, because you're driving down the highway going from one job site to another, and an airplane shears, the back of the top of your car. So, oh, and give me 1 second. It looks like my chat is, yep, my chat was stuck. Wow, I missed a lot. Okay. Pookie says, it always sounds like one's going to land on my house. There's a small airport a few miles away. And thank you, Sinner, for, yes, my 1 year, which I totally forgot, I knew it was in February, but I didn't realize it was this early in February. So yesterday was my 1 year of having my channel. So thank you to House of Williams, aka Mallory, because she is who inspired me to start my channel. So yeah, I can't believe it's been a year. Crazy. Oh yeah, Cheese. Pilots are always so calm in a crisis. I'd be bugging out. Yeah, I'd be freaking out too. Oh, Team Brittany, I remember that story. So there was, right, it hit a house. And I believe the residents, the 2 people who lived at the house, lost their lives. Yes, Florida Mobile Park home. So that was also in Florida. Let me see if I can find. Here's a video. I don't see. That was a week ago. All right, so let me move over here.
Well, breaking overnight, several people are dead after.
Right, so this was also in Florida. Florida Mobile Park home, and so the small plane crashed into it, killing several. I believe there were 2 people in the mobile home itself, and then in addition to those who were on the plane.
Well, breaking overnight, several people are dead after a small plane crashed into a mobile home park in Clearwater, Florida. Authorities say the single-engine plane hit one house, sparking a fire that also damaged other nearby homes. The FAA says the pilot reported engine failure before the plane.
Wow, so that one again, the pilot had said engine failure. Like, what is happening here? Geez.
Went down.
We get a report of an airplane crash that was above head. The trailer at this location is now on fire.
Well, shocked neighbors described the moments of the impact.
Jesus.
I was screaming, call 911, call 911. I wanted to get everybody out, but the heat was horrible.
It's sad, and I'm praying for the people that were involved.
A federal investigation is underway to determine the cause of the crash. Now our Christian Benavides is in Clearwater with the latest. Well, Christian, what else do we know?
Anne Marie, good morning. Well, this morning we're still smelling the smoke from the scene, which if you step back far enough, you see that it is still smoldering. We're about, I would say, less than a football field away from the scene, and it is still very much burning. What we know at this point is that the pilot here at some point made that distress call. He departed from Vero Beach, Florida. That's on the east coast of the state, headed towards Clearwater, where we're located, and then made that distress call. I think something to keep in mind here is we're just 3 miles away from the Clearwater Airport, Clearwater St. Petersburg Airport, and which is believed to be the destination where he was headed, or at least where he made that distress call and where that was received. So at this point, investigation is still ongoing. We know that when the plane crashed. It completely decimated one mobile home, and also 3 surrounding mobile homes were engulfed in flames, which is why.
Oh my gosh, like that's terrible. I mean, I guess with that type of, explosion, it wouldn't be unheard of, but these poor people.
Officials haven't officially said how many people may have perished. All that they said was that there are several people who are dead and they're currently investigating. And they said that people are dead both people who are in the aircraft and who were inside of a mobile home. So the investigation does very much continue. The NTSB is looking into what led up to that Mayday call by the pilot, and we'll be here. I think something else. We'll be here following the latest. Something else to note here is that this is a community mostly of retirees, people who have moved to Florida to retire. It's a 55-plus mobile home park in an area that is popular with people who retire here. We're still learning about who the victims may be. We haven't had any confirmed ID as of yet. Anne-Marie?
All right, so yes, so that one also was in Clearwater, Florida. This one with the private jet crashing on the interstate, this was near Naples, Florida.
Scary scene as you look at that. This is the charred remains. That jet completely destroyed. Of course, we know 5 people aboard that aircraft, 3 making it off, 2 sadly announced dead by the sheriff's office out here. So we know this crash occurred around 3:15 this afternoon. Quite a scary scene. As you mentioned, Nicole, I had a chance to speak to a witness who was actually driving with his son. He's a Broward County man making it through Naples all the way heading to Tampa. His son only driving on his permit when he noticed an explosion off in the distance. As you can imagine, quite a scary scene.
And so you can see the truck. And to me, it almost appears like one of maybe the landing gear hit the truck, or I mean, maybe the belly of the plane hit the truck. I mean, the whole thing is just like smushed. Let me just back that up a little bit too, because I started talking in the middle of their story.
Was actually driving with his son. He's a Broward County man making it through Naples all the way heading to Tampa. His son only driving on his permit when he noticed an explosion off in the distance. As you can imagine, quite a scary scene for the pair inside that vehicle. Go ahead and take a listen to what they said.
We're in the car, obviously with the windows up, but you could feel kind of the concussion as it explodes. And you could definitely feel the heat through the window glass as we were going by. My son is here driving with his permit, and we're getting some experience in. So I'm not really.
I know. Can you imagine? I don't know. When I had my permit, I was afraid. I was scared to go on the highway or the throughway. And so this kid, I mean, what a first, what an experience. Just, getting some practice in with your permit, and you witness something so horrific.
Really expecting a plane to crash down next to us and burst into flames. This kind of thing does not happen to you every day. It's a thing you hear about in the news. It's not something you think you'll ever be part of.
And I just want to echo another point of conversation with him. He was saying you always hear about a Cessna. Of course, that's a remarkably smaller.
And so again, here's the plane over here, and then the truck, and you could see how the truck was, pushed off the highway. Actually, it was from over here. So he was pushed off the highway and then ended up facing the wrong direction. Lucky, I mean, he's lucky. The 3 that survived this crash, I mean, nothing short of miraculous.
Aircraft that goes down. You don't expect to see a plane, especially of that size, go down, let alone in the middle of I-75. But right now you're looking at a live look of that accident right there. This is a traffic cam. You can see cops on scene, the wreckage of that aircraft, of course, a number of first responders out there. Back out here live, of course, you can expect traffic delays. Alligator Alley, a section will be closed for at least the next 24 hours. I'm going to give you those mile markers. That's going to be 111 to 105. Of course, we'll bring you the very latest on air and online. I'm Samir FC, Local 10 News.
Oops. Okay, so I'm just gonna again pause that for a moment. Just quickly. This was in the Bronx. 1 dead, 5 injured after shooting on platform at Mount Eden subway station in the Bronx. So again, like, what is happening? An investigation is underway after 1 person died and 5 others were left wounded after a shooting at a subway station in the Bronx. The shooting was reported at the Mount Eden train station on Monday afternoon. 6 people were shot on the platform while waiting for the southbound number 4 train at around 4:30. One of the victims died at St. Barnabas Hospital. So here, these people are just waiting to go home or to go to wherever they're going, and some person decides to just shoot at them? Like, what the heck? The injuries to the other 5 are not believed to be life-threatening. No arrests have been made, and a gun has yet to be recovered by authorities. The MTA said northbound 4 trains are running on the express track. Blah, blah, blah. We don't really care about that. What the heck? Like, people are insane. Hey, Glow, how are you? Yes. Thank you, Sinner. Yeah, I did see that once I saw the article. But there's somebody out there with a gun that we I mean, at this point. So back to, oh, and this is actually looking at this. This is a view of the plane I have not seen before. So the next 2 videos are actually updates as of yesterday, I believe. And so these I have not watched because these are really recent. And this is actually footage where you can see the survivors from the plane run out of the plane, and another man is running towards them saying, "Is anybody else on there? Is anybody else on there?"
New details from that deadly and fiery crash on a Florida interstate. Just before we came on the air, authorities confirming the pilot and the co-pilot of that small plane were killed when it went down on I-75 near Naples. The pilot reporting the failure of both engines. 3 other people.
And so here you can see the 3 people running from the plane. And let me just back that up just a little bit, because I mean, okay, so we're gonna actually, let me put this on slow motion because obviously they're running fast, but just to see where
Both engines.
So it looks like they came out of this side maybe, or from somewhere. So those are the 3 people who escaped the plane. I mean, holy crap. See you, Team Brittany. Thanks for stopping in. And no snow day for me. They downgraded. We went from up to a foot to less than 4 inches. So I don't even think we're going to have a delay, sadly.
3 other people fleeing for their lives from the burning wreckage. These images captured by a Good Samaritan recording on his phone as he rushed toward the flames. The incident bringing traffic on the busy roadway to a standstill. Authorities say one person on the ground was hurt, 2 vehicles were damaged. Part of I-75 near the crash site remained closed today. The NTSB on the scene investigating what caused both engines to fail. ABC's Morgan Norwood leads us off.
Oh my God. Oh my God. What the?
Holy shit. Oh,
Tonight,
sorry. I didn't
chilling
mean
new
to swear.
video showing the
Oh my holy crap.
Chilling new video showing the terrifying moment 3 people escaped this blazing plane that crashed on I-75 in Naples, Florida. Kyle Cavalier taking the video as he rushed toward.
So, oh my God, like that, I don't even know how they escaped. I'm just going to back this up a little bit. Holy crap.
Florida. Kyle Cavalier taking the video as he rushed toward the wreckage to help.
The plane's completely engulfed in flames.
Oops, I went the wrong way. Sorry. Let me just go back a little bit more.
In Naples, Florida. Kyle Cavalier taking the video as he rushed toward the.
What the heck? All right, I'm just going to go back a little further. Here we go. This is where I was supposed to go. Oh, she has her purse? I didn't even notice that.
Chilling new video showing the terrifying moment 3 people escaped this blazing.
Like, look at the fire. Like, I just can't fathom how they got out. I mean, granted, they were, it had been several seconds, but oh my gosh.
Plane that crashed on I-75 in Naples, Florida. Kyle Cavalier taking the video as he rushed toward the wreckage to help.
The plane's completely engulfed in flames, jet fuel, hydraulic oil. At that point now, I run over to try and help them.
The flames still tearing through the jet. Survivors frantic, telling him the pilot was still.
All right, so was there some. Hold on, let me back up a little bit.
Frantic, telling him the pilot was still inside.
Is there anybody else in there? Are they alive?
The Collier County Sheriff's Office says pilot Edward Murphy and his second-in-command Ian Hoffman were killed when the Bombardier Challenger 600 bound for Naples Airport went down in the middle of rush hour Friday.
We're clear to land, but we're not going to make the runway. We've lost both engines.
It took the top of that truck.
Right, so here's that truck. And again, for those of you who may be coming in, the driver of the truck did survive with minor injuries, physical injuries. And yeah, I mean, it just completely, the back end is completely squished. And I mean, it's just completely mangled.
Jet slamming into a pickup truck, sending the driver to the hospital with minor injuries, according to the Florida Highway Patrol. An SUV also hit. The 3 people inside walking away unharmed. Tonight, both the FAA and NTSB investigating what caused those engines to give out.
Extraordinarily unusual for both engines to fail. So it can happen from lack of fuel starvation, running out of gas, or it could happen by birds being sucked down both engines, but extraordinarily rare.
Morgan Norwood joining us now. And Morgan, still so many questions about what went wrong here, but what will investigators specifically be looking for?
Well, Whit, there's no doubt that those 2 engines will be a central part of this investigation. Look, whatever's left of them at this point could tell authorities a lot about what may have happened here. We also know the NTSB is on the ground right now in Naples. And as they investigate, they're asking anyone with video showing the plane crash to reach out to them.
And that actually, I hadn't thought about that, but dash cam footage, I'm sure that someone on, if it was rush hour, someone on the highway had to have had dash cam footage of this happening. And I still can't, those 3 people who made it out. Amazing. All right, so I do have one, actually that might be, no, I have one more. So I have one more short video about the plane crash on I-75, which was just not too far from Naples, Florida. Their destination was Naples, and sadly they didn't make it. Yes, Cheese. That's what the captain reported. Was that they had lost both engines right before it went down.
A federal investigation is underway after 2 people died in a plane crash near Naples, Florida on Friday. The FAA says 5 people were on board the small jet when the pilot reported dual engine failure before crashing onto the highway. 3 passengers were able to get out safely. Officials say the jet experienced dual engine failure as it approached the airport. Our Manuel Bajorquez joins us now for more. So, Manny, what are we learning about the...
And so I had initially thought that truck, let me just go back a little bit. So I'm wondering, I had thought the truck came from the other direction, but now it appears that when the plane hit that truck, that white truck, it pushed it that far up the highway.
The FAA says 5 people were on board the small jet when the pilot reported dual engine failure before crashing onto the highway. 3 passengers were able to get out safely. Officials say the jet experienced dual engine failure as it approached the airport. Our Manuel Bajorquez joins us now for more. So, Manny, what are we learning about the people on board?
Well, federal officials have identified the 5 people who were aboard. 2 of them, as you mentioned, who died. They are the pilot and the co-pilot, identified as Edward Daniel Murphy and Ian Frederick Hoffman, both from the Fort Lauderdale area where the airplane was based. Also, 3 other people on board, a flight crew member, a 23-year-old woman who was treated for her injuries and has been released from the hospital, and the 2 passengers who were coming in from Ohio also have been treated for their injuries and released. Florida Highway Patrol says there were also 2 vehicles that were in.
So I've never seen this video. So you can see there's like a line of fire. And I was wondering before how the sound barrier was so burnt up along the highway, and that now it makes sense. There was a whole line of fire. I'm just going to back it up a tiny bit. Right, so you can see here, and then the jet was up more.
Injuries and released. Florida Highway Patrol says there were also 2 vehicles that were impacted when the plane went down. Only 1 driver sustained minor injuries. So, of course, there's a lot of relief that things weren't worse on the ground when the plane went down.
And then, so what's happening with the investigation? The FAA, I assume, is looking into this?
Of course. And here's what we do know right now. Those pilots radioed in saying that they had both engines go out and that they needed to do an emergency landing. They were just about 3 miles from the runway where they were supposed to land when they crashed onto I-75. At this point, we don't know more about what actually caused it to go down because it's so early on in the NTSB investigation, but we're told they'll be looking at pilot experience, eyewitness accounts, maintenance records on that airplane, and of course, all the air traffic control recordings as they look into what happened there. They have been able to retrieve the wreckage now and move it off of I-75 where they can look at the airplane in a different place and really get into the nitty-gritty of what happened there. One point to make is that I-75 southbound, a main artery through that part of Southwest Florida, was shut down for 48 hours. It is now reopened.
All right, Manny, thank you very much.
All right, so definitely I still like those people running out of the burning, like the inferno that ensued is just, I can't get my mind off that. Hey, Laura Lulu. So the last story I have for us is the East Lansdowne, Pennsylvania case where initially there was a 911 call stating an 11-year-old was shot. And so law enforcement responded. 2 officers were shot, one in the arm, one in the leg. Both have been released from the hospital as of, I believe it was yesterday. I saw the video, it was yesterday or Saturday. And sadly, there were a total of 6 individuals in the house. And shortly after officers arrived, had received gunfire from inside the home. The house then, there was, I mean, it was a huge fire, and we'll see parts of that. So just really, really sad. And the 7th was Wednesday. So it was this past Wednesday is when this occurred. And so here is just photos of 5 of the victims.
Breaking right now, a hero goes home. Lansdowne police officer David Shaza was released from the hospital late this afternoon. He is one of 2 officers who were shot in East Lansdowne yesterday while responding to reports of a child shot at a home on Lewis Avenue. The home was torched after the shooting with 6 people inside. It is Thursday afternoon. I'm Sarah Bloomquist.
And I'm Gray Hall in for Brian. The big story on Action News is the breaking developments in yesterday's shooting and fire in East Lansdowne.
Today, we learned from a family member who tells us all 6 people inside the home were killed, including 3 children. They've been identified as the Lay family. We're told multiple...
Oh, look at those babies. And let me just go back. So this was... So I'm going to assume that this was mom and dad, and then the 3 babies.
They've been identified as the Lay family. We're told multiple generations live there in the house.
And this is some video of that home on Lewis Avenue.
And so this was again on Wednesday. Just, I mean, I would assume that an accelerant was used just based on the intensity of that fire, which in my opinion started most likely in the attic, possibly the 2nd floor, but pretty intense flames there.
Still a very active scene today. This just 24 hours after authorities were first called to that location.
We have crews working this story from every angle. Action News reporter Maggie Kent is standing by at Penn Presbyterian Hospital with an update on the injured officers. Chad Pradelli spoke with a woman who identified herself as the mother of the suspected shooter. But we begin our coverage with Caroline Goggin, who's on the scene in East Lansdowne with the latest on the ongoing investigation. Caroline.
Well, Sarah and Gray, as you mentioned, this is an active crime scene at this hour. It's been a really difficult one for crews to navigate. I want to give you a look at that scene right now here at 4 o'clock. Crews tell us the search continues for the remains of the people they fear are dead, and the DA tells us that the search could take some time.
It's going to take hours. It might even take days.
A recovery operation is currently underway in this Delaware County neighborhood. Crews spent part of the morning working to ensure.
Oh, wow. And this view, because I was thinking about the house next door. It does show that the house next door actually did get pretty significant damage to it. It was hard to tell when it was initially happening, but definitely significant damage to the house next door.
This Delaware County neighborhood. Crews spent part of the morning working to ensure this East Lansdowne home was stable enough to begin their search.
There's like 6 feet of water in the basement. The walls could collapse at any time, and there's still hot spots burning.
Investigators are looking for answers after a dramatic scene played out late yesterday afternoon. Just before 4 o'clock, police say there was a call for a shooting at 58 Lewis Avenue.
A call went out from our 911.
Okay, so I actually hadn't seen this footage because when I started watching it this past Wednesday, the house was pretty much fully involved. But you can see the smoke coming through the attic window here.
One center, that 11-year-old girl had been shot.
When police arrived on scene, the DA says a suspect opened fire. Sources say they believe the shooter was firing from the 3rd floor when the officers were struck. 2 officers, one from...
Oh, okay. So that would make sense. So the 3rd floor, which I would assume is the attic, that would make sense why the fire in my opinion, started in the attic or the third floors, because that's where they believe the shooting came from.
From Lansdowne, the other from East Lansdowne were shot and dragged out of danger by Upper Darby police.
Our officers, numerous officers responded, got ballistic shields, and were able to go onto that street, drag those officers out.
The officers who were rushed to the hospital are expected to be okay. About 15 minutes after they were shot, officials say someone set the home on fire.
Jesus.
The DA says the Lay family lived inside this home.
There are at least 3 adults and 3 children who are unaccounted for and that we fear were in the home at the time of the shooting and the subsequent fire.
A family member tells us those 6 people are dead, and we have now learned 2 of their bodies have been recovered.
We're still at the stage of trying to get into the house bit by bit and recover bodies and evidence.
The DA tells us in addition to finding remains here on the scene this afternoon, they also recovered a rifle on this scene. Now, because they've deemed this scene unsafe, they're doing everything they can to make sure the police officers who are working here are being as careful as possible. As for how exactly yesterday's fire started, that is still under investigation. We're live in East Lansdowne. I'm Caroline Goggin, Channel 6 Action News. Gray.
Okay, Caroline, thanks for the update. We switch now live to Action News reporter Chad Perdelli, who today spoke with the mother of the alleged shooter. We've learned that she was actually inside the home when that violence erupted. Chad, live for us there in East Lansdowne with the story. Chad, we can only imagine what that mother had to share with you.
Grace, she survived, but sadly, most of her family did not. Still, she had the strength to speak to us. Chinlay is alive, but still reeling from the mass shooting in her home in East Lansdowne yesterday.
Oh my God, I'm very sad. I'm very sad. Okay, that's why I try to help her.
Through her doctor, who translated for us, she walked us through the harrowing final moments of her loved ones. She says her 43-year-old son, Kun Lay, was arguing with his 13-year-old niece, Nikayla Lay, in an upstairs bedroom when she says she heard her son was going to get a gun.
Suddenly, he used a gun.
Exactly how many victims were shot is unclear, and cause of death will be determined by an autopsy. She says she and her husband escaped out the front door, but she says her other son, Sung, his wife, Brittany, and their 3 children, 13-year-old Nikayla, 10-year-old Xavier, and 17-year-old Natayla, all are presumed to have died in the home. Crews spent the day trying to recover the bodies.
I asked her, does your son have any medical problem, any mental problem before? She said no. He did marry before and he divorced.
Chinlay says her husband called 911. When police responded, they encountered heavy gunfire. Why Kun Lay and his niece were arguing is unclear. She says they didn't have a history of arguments, and her son did not have any medical or mental illnesses of which she was aware.
Very happy family. And suddenly something happened like that one.
And the mother tells me she fled Vietnam here to the United States in 1981 and lived in this area for over 4 decades. Now, it's believed the 3 children went to schools in the William Penn School District. The district released a statement saying that it's still gathering information and providing counseling to other students. And in some late breaking news, just moments ago, we're told a 3rd body was pulled from the rubble. Live in East Lansdowne, Chad Perdelli, Channel 6 Action News. Sarah?
Yeah, such a tragedy, Chad. Thank you.
All right. So again, that was, just giving an initial summary. And then this is the press conference. And again, this is a little bit longer. It's about 8 minutes, but I am going to, hopefully I can speed it up a little bit, just to give more information about what they know or what they can report. And at this point, all 6, all 5 victims and the shooter had been recovered.
Good afternoon. I'm Jack Stolzheimer, the District Attorney of Delaware County. I'm joined by the chiefs of both East Lansdowne and Lansdowne and the mayors of both of these towns as well, and my Chief County Detective, Jim Nolan. With a heavy heart, we can announce today that we have recovered 3 more bodies this morning. We think we have found everybody who was in that house. The Lay family, we think we have recovered all members of that family. And I want to give you an update on where things are going to stand. So at this point, there is no other search going on inside the building. We're trying to make sure the building is secure. We're going to be turning it over to the East Lansdowne officials as soon as possible for destruction and to make that area safe. At this point, the investigation moves to the Chief Medical Examiner of Delaware County. They have taken custody of all 6 bodies that have been recovered. I want to thank Chief Nolan and CID, the Criminal Investigation Division of the DA's office, have done incredible work handling this crime scene and recovering those bodies. I was with them yesterday when they pulled through those bodies out. It is gruesome work when they did a fantastic job. Now our Chief Medical Examiner is doing his part of the job. The first thing he's going to try to do is determine who these people are. He has to identify them using whatever means that are available, including DNA and dental records, and then he's going to try to determine the manner and cause of death. Our assumption is that they were shot by gunfire and then there was a fire set, but we have no idea whether or not that's true. So again, the medical examiner is going to try to determine that. He tells me from talking to him yesterday there are tests he can run to determine whether people were alive at the time the fire was set or whether they were already deceased, and he'll be looking for bullet wounds as well in what remains of the bodies. And I will tell you again from seeing it firsthand, these are charred remains. They're unrecognizable human beings. Not only was there an intense fire, but the building collapsed on these folks as they were in there. One of whom we believe is the shooter. I think his name is Conley. We knew from information provided by the grandparents early on in the investigation that he was the suspect for at least shooting one of the nieces, one of his nieces, which is unbelievable to be able to say. I was trying to shield the grandparents from all of you, quite frankly, because they were going through an incredible trauma that I still can't imagine. They have literally lost everything they have. They've lost everybody they loved, and they've lost their home. And they've been trying to deal with that for the last couple of days. And they seem to be just people who are in utter shock, as I think all of us would be. So at this point, we're going to wait for the Chief Medical Examiner's report. If Mr. Lay, who we believe to be the shooter, if the torso recovered with the firearm is in fact him, the criminal investigation will be closed because we will have found the person we believe at least killed one person in this home and probably killed all the others himself. At that point, there is still a little bit of paperwork that has to go on. My Special Investigations Unit will do their work just to determine, all the facts that would happen here that night, and every officer who discharged their weapon will be interviewed. Of course, everyone who discharged a weapon was completely justified in doing so. But we are law enforcement agencies. We have to have all the paperwork to document everything we've done. We're also going to make sure if there's any lessons to be learned, they can be learned through this process, this horrible, unspeakable tragedy that's taken place here in East Lansdowne. I want to thank every single law enforcement agency in this region who has offered their support, not only the Delaware County agencies who have been picking up patrols and doing other things for Lansdowne and for East Lansdowne, who are both, by the way, still short one police officer, but the state police who have guarded the site. My colleague, Chris, the new DA of Chester County, he reached out to offer help. Michelle Henry, the Attorney General of Pennsylvania, made sure that whatever resources that we needed, they had. I heard from the governor last night, making sure that I knew that he had Delco's back in whatever we needed. We just heard from Senator Casey's office. So the feds have been helpful as well. Every resource we've needed from our Department of Emergency Services, I cannot forget everything that they've done to be out here supporting us in this massive two-day effort. Hopefully, at some point soon, the community is going to be able to begin the healing process for what happened here. And part of that is going to be when we're able to finally remove ourselves from that property, and East Lansdowne can take back custody of the property, demolish the home, and move on to whatever the future is for that property. But the only good news here today is that we are bringing home Delco's other hero this afternoon. We're looking forward to go back into Philadelphia. For Delco people to go into Philadelphia, it takes a lot. But we deeply appreciate all of the wonderful care Penn Presbyterian has given to our officers. They have been fabulous in helping us and making sure that these officers are safe. We really hope to be able to get him home this afternoon. I think we'll be out there probably around 2 or 3 o'clock for the same kind of ceremony to bring him home. But at this point, this scene, you're just going to be cleanup going on. You don't need to be here. There's no more crime-solving activities going on here today. We're trying to make it secure, do the follow-up work that we need to do to make sure that we can get ourselves out of here and return this community. I do want to thank, and our chief and the mayor want to make sure the community, this community, Delaware County community, has been fabulous. They have reached out to all of us, just regular people who cared about police officers who were hurt, who cared about this family who was going through incredible grief. They've offered everything from food and help, and just incredible. We really are a family here in Delaware County, and I think on behalf of all of us, we want to thank the residents of East Lansdowne and the residents of Delaware County. And if you have any questions, I can.
Make a positive. How do you firm up that investigation that ties this crime to a particular person? What do you do to make your case show?
So we have, if he is the individual that the grandmother, who is his mother, identified as shooting her granddaughter, the case is closed as long as he is one of the deceased individuals. Okay? Hold on. At that point, there's no more criminal prosecution needed. Okay, we know people died because a fire was caused here. If he also killed them by gunfire, that just adds to the trauma, but it doesn't change the dynamic. As long as the shooter, who we believe started this whole series of tragic events, is dead, it's a closed criminal matter.
What made you assume that they were killed by gunfire?
No motive at all.
What made you assume that they were killed by gunfire? You said you made.
I didn't make the assumption, except that, I'm sorry if I did. What we've heard, obviously you heard the reports that there was multiple gunshots. In fact, the 911 call that came in, people could hear gunfire. My, again, assumption is that the fire was started at some point after he probably killed members of the family. I could be completely wrong. The medical examiner is going to try to determine how they died, if they died by gunfire or if they died by smoke inhalation and burn. Those are two different. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. It may matter to the grandparents, and we're trying to give them closure. But I just think that that's an assumption that will be tested by whatever the chief medical examiner. Sorry if I, Chris, if I misspoke. One second. Okay. So one officer was shot in the leg. One officer was shot in the forearm. The officer who was shot in the forearm, who was being released today, John Meehan, had both serious injuries. I mean, people put holes. These guys put holes in their bodies in places they weren't supposed to have holes. Okay, so both of them took serious traumatic injuries. John took a little bit more surgery was involved. We're really hopeful and thankful that he's getting out, hopefully today, assuming the doctors release him, and then we'll be able to welcome him back home. Vinny?
Okay, and I did end it there because it does go on for another 10 minutes or so, and listening to the questions, they were just a bit repetitive, and he was pretty much saying the same thing. So this last video I have for you, well, I'm going to end with another video just because we've had a lot of tragedy so far this live. The title of this is Crews Demolish East Lansdowne Home After Remains Recovered. And so again, they are working on clearing out this house.
Now at 4, an uplifting escort for an injured police officer. People line the streets to show support for Officer John Meehan as he made his way home from the hospital this afternoon. He's one of the 2 officers who were shot in East Lansdowne while responding to the shooting on Lewis Avenue on Wednesday. It's now Friday afternoon. I'm Sarah Bloomquist.
And I'm Gray Hall in for Brian. The big story on Action News is the aftermath of the shooting and fire in East Lansdowne today. Authorities saying that they recovered the remains of all 6 family members who were inside that burning home on Wednesday. The suspected gunman is believed to be among them.
With those remains recovered, authorities have now begun the process of demolishing what is left of the house. This is a live look at the scene just 48 hours after the tragedy unfolded. We'll check in with Action News reporter Becca Hendrickson for more on the release of Officer Meehan in just a moment. But we begin with Caroline Goggin, live from the scene in East Lansdowne with the latest on the investigation. Caroline.
Well, Sarah and Gray, now that all the bodies have been recovered, this is no longer considered an active crime scene. As you can see behind me, this road just opened about 10 minutes ago. And right here, you can see that this home has been demolished. All of the bodies that...
Oh, yeah, and you can see a little bit better, too, the home next door, the damage that it received. And there is someone on the roof. I'm guessing they're inspecting it, looking at it, but it's sad for them as well.
All of the bodies that were recovered will head to the medical examiner's office to be identified. And officials tell us the ultimate goal is to provide closure to the family and to this community.
I don't know what could have transpired, what could happen to kill 3 little kids.
The search for answers continues in this East Lansdowne neighborhood, but the search for remains at what was once this home on Lewis Ave has come to an end. Officials say all 6 bodies were recovered from the rubble by noon today, less than 48 hours after gunfire erupted here and the home was set on fire. The district attorney has now confirmed the suspected shooter was 43-year-old Kun Lay. If they are able to identify his body,
The criminal investigation will be closed because we will have found the person we believe at least killed one person in this home and probably killed all the others.
Lay's mother tells Action News that her son was arguing with his 13-year-old niece on Wednesday afternoon. When he went to get a gun, she and her husband fled the home. Shots were fired, and when police got to the scene, they were met by gunfire. 2 officers were shot. Shortly after, the home went up in flames. In addition to the shooter, Lay's mother fears her other son, his wife, and their 3 children. 17-year-old Natayla, 13-year-old Nikayla, and 10-year-old Xavier are dead. Nikayla was a dancer at Kathy Collins' dance studio in Alden. Gianna Milano's cousin was her dance instructor.
I think the whole community there is very disheartened by this.
The studio posted on Facebook saying, Nikayla was an amazing girl, talented dancer, and an incredible friend. She will be missed. Milano was in the area on Wednesday and returned to the scene today.
And that young girl came home from school that day at probably 3 o'clock, and then an hour later, her and her family are dead.
Balloons and teddy bears now sit just feet from the burnout home as the community begins the healing process.
I've seen these kids walk to and from school. I've seen these kids at our community events. East Lansdowne is in pain.
And back out here live on the scene this afternoon, you can see that a neighboring home suffered damage from that fire. The mayor and other officials said today
Wow.
any neighbors in need will be able to get assistance from the borough during this time. Now, the DA tells us they did recover a rifle on the scene, but they don't know if that rifle was registered to the suspected shooter. As for his criminal background, they said there wasn't anything notable, nothing that would indicate he could do something like this. That is the latest live in East Lansdowne. I'm Caroline Goggin, Channel 6. Action News.
All right, and so that's what I have. I do have one more video, but you know, that young girl that they were interviewing kind of said it best. You know, this girl was at school with her friends, and about an hour after she got home, her and her family were dead. You know, you can't make sense of something that doesn't make sense, you know, and sadly, they're never going to know what caused the argument, why this man did what he did, because he's gone, and so are the people who witnessed it. So I agree, glow with glow, super sad. So Cheese did ask if I could play something a little less tragic. So this video I actually saved to my playlist because it was so cute. So this is a kitten who falls asleep mid-conversation. Let me make sure the volume's up because he does make some noise, or she. I don't know if it's a boy or girl, but it's so cute. So you can see that he's he's on his sibling. His sibling is on their back sleeping, and he's kind of just, you know, snuggied next to his human, and this is really cute. Hey, Thunder. Hi. Oh, let me turn it up a little bit more. It's hard to hear him. He's got such a little squeak there.
Hi. You having a good nap? Is your sister really comfy? Did she make a good pillow?
It's so cute. And he's out. So that's just, actually, let's watch that again because he is really cute. Or she. I don't know if it's a he or she, but it looks like a he.
Hi. You having a good nap? Is your sister really comfy?
And he's like, I'm out.
Did she make a good pillow?
He didn't even close his mouth. He was so sleepy. So that was, actually, let me see. That was from Tiny. It's called Tiny Kittens HQ. So actually, I'm going to put their link in the chat just because, you know, the kittens need some love too. So this is, you know, this is what I watch when I'm not watching other stuff. So definitely check them out if you like kittens like I do, or cats in general. That's true, K-Braze. If someone was letting me lay in their lap and they were petting me, I think I would fall asleep right away. Well, that, and I know kittens are funny because they'll be racing around like banshees and, you know, super energetic, and then they kind of just, they'll fall asleep like instantaneously. Like they'll be, say, playing with a toy, and then they fell asleep playing with the toy, or they're, you know, playing on their siblings, and then they're out. So Yeah, my kitten voice. I have a kitten voice too, looking beyond. Yep. I always say to people when I share videos with them when I have foster kittens, I'll be like, don't mind the kitten voice. Don't mind the kitten voice. Oh, your girls were trying to find the baby? Aw. Okay, Prince. I know, that's actually funny when they do that. He's been running in his sleep a lot and then wakes up and looks at me like I did something wrong. I mean, he's probably like, where's whatever he was chasing? He's probably like, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Yeah, so that's and the other one I watch is there's another one. It's like the live cams that it's like kitten something. It's a live cam and it's all like they have 4 different cameras and it's like you can watch the babies grow, the baby kittens. So they're with their mommy and just, that's what I watch. And my raccoons, of course. My raccoon saloon. I still watch them every night. I check in to see what they're up to. But now with winter, they're not as active. So they're not really, they're not too interesting these days. But thank you everyone for being here. I very much appreciate it. I am going to do a live tomorrow. Right now, I think I have it scheduled for, let me look quick. It was 4:30, but I forgot that I had a meeting that I have to go to after work. So I believe I changed it to 5:30. I'm just going to look really quick because I can't remember. Oh, and that's not what I wanted to do. Let's see. Yes, 5:30. So I changed it to 5:30 tomorrow just so that I would have time to prepare. And again, I am going to talk about the Chilean wildfires, which I've been planning on doing for some time and just haven't gotten to it. And then on Wednesday at 7 p.m., we are going to play Words on Stream for Wordsy Wednesday. So definitely make sure your notifications are on. I am going to try to do more lives during the week because today, I mean, I made it within my 2 hours, but there's so many stories and so many things happening that I feel, should be mentioned. There was actually, before I went live, there was another what was it? There was an El Dorado couple. Their gender reveal actually was the reason for the El Dorado fire. I believe it was in 2021 maybe or 2022. I can't remember exactly, but anyways, they reached a plea deal today. So they will be doing jail time, but not the 20 years they faced if they had gone to trial. So, just tons of stories that I want to talk about. So I'm going to try to do a live every day, but if I don't, things happen, but I miss talking about these stories. So Rockstar voiceover is funny. I'm not sure what that is. Oh, the Eagle cams. I love the Eagle cams as well. Yeah. And there's actually one. I don't know. I don't think it's a barn owl. I can't remember what type of owl it is, but it's an owl cam. And it's so cool just watching them and like what they do. Like this owl just kind of stands in the doorway and like looking around. He's looking out his little house. They're so cute. So I watch the wild nature cams. So like people have during the day, they have these bird feeders. So you see all kinds of birds. And then at night you see all the nightlife like deer and raccoon, skunk, possum. That's what I do, at night, is just watch all the little animals. So oh, I'd like Rockstar. I'll have to check it out. Oh, he does animal videos. All right, let me write that down. I'll write that on my notepad here so I don't forget. All right, y'all. Well, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. I hope to see you all tomorrow to discuss the Chilean wildfires that I haven't checked the past few days, but as of last week, over 100 had lost their lives and hundreds were missing. So I'm almost afraid to look at the updates because I can just imagine how much they've increased since the last time I checked. So thanks again. I hope you all have a great night. And if I don't see you on these YouTube streets, I will see you all on the flip side.